Hello, 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 everybody. What's going on? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Roundtable Live for today, February 9th, 2018, with myself, Mr. Nick Rockley Smile, and a special guest, Crendor and Sinvicta. Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
Like a slow energy ramp up there, like you're starting up a spaceship
gotta be like,
or something.
Like THX or something, you know. We gotta bring people in slowly but surely. People need to get acclimated to the fact that Bear isn't the one bringing the show in. I don't want to surprise people like a jump scare.
Oh, we're surprising him this week because we just completely remixed the facial hair profile.
That's true. That's
we're all
true.
at a different level now in our standings.
There is that one person in every video who gives like the facial hair ranking every time.
And I'm saying it's going to be all new this week.
Yeah, it is going to be all.
Wait, so what were the previous rankings then?
I believe I took last one.
I think you did have the number one spot last time around.
Usually Bear dominates.
Yeah, usually Bear's at number one. I'm usually 2 or 3. Ryan is usually bottom of the barrel most of the time. So.
Yeah, well,
I mean, he doesn't even shave. He just glues like Tomo's hair that he finds there. He can't grow a beard.
Why would he
tell I said
glue?
that.
Why would he glue that hair of any hair? You could pick so many different hairs to glue.
Well, in his house, he's only got cat hair. I don't think
That's
he wants
true.
to. He doesn't want to glue Kate's hair because
Pin Kate down to shave her head.
Rika's got lighter hair. Tomo's got like very dark brown on the middle of his face, so it's probably that mostly.
Yeah. It's probably the poop stains on Tomo.
So welcome to the Roundtable Podcast,
right. Hello.
where we make fun of Ryan Letourneau for an hour and a half.
Well, he decided
Not
to take
here.
February off from Roundtable, so it's his own fault for getting made fun of. That is on him,
Took a
not
whole
us.
month off. Wow.
Yeah, he's going. I'm assuming he's going to Japan soon. I think he's taking a little bit of a vacation. The
I
dude
see.
streams 24/7. So.
I don't know how he does it. He uploads like 10 YouTube videos a day still.
I know. He does like 10 YouTube videos a day. He does this. He does the NLSS 3 times a week, and then he streams with Kate. Korea. I'm sorry, chat. He's going to Korea. Korea.
For the Olympics?
Oh, is he really going to the Olympics?
I keep hearing.
I don't know.
that.
I mean,
He's
they're
not
happening.
confirming that with me.
Listen, chat. If you're gonna be at the Olympics, I want like a Northern Lion Northern Esports jersey to be worn while you're at the Olympics. If you can get that to happen.
You think he's going to be the one attracting attention at the Olympics?
I think he's going to be the biggest name at the Olympics.
Yeah.
You think
mean-
it's not going to be Usain Bolt? Wait, does he run in the Winter Olympics? Probably not.
I don't think they do running. in the
Why would they-
Olympics.
Mathis, why would they have the 100 meter
Not like
dash in
this.
the Winter Olympics?
Indoors, dude. Indoors. You can
Why
do
would they have the
indoors.
Winter Olympics indoors?
Some of it's indoors.
No, that
All right. Well.
Yeah, like ice skating. But even then, you can do it outdoors.
Hey,
you have to
true.
be able to at least do it outdoors in some form.
is Mathis okay? He's exhibiting the same characteristics of my uncle at his stream.
Earliest start stream 2 question marks chat that I've seen in a while.
I mean, you could have gone anywhere. You could have said, it was both Koreas, marching under a unified uniform, or you could have talked about,
Right.
something particular. But no, it had to be Usain Bolt running in the Winter Olympics. It's just
Well, we started talking about Ryan, and we just got there at some point. So.
never change, Mathis. Never change.
Anyway, hello everybody. What's
Mathis
going
is still,
Oh, no,
can I just
what's going
bring up
Oh,
from
God.
like a year ago?
Yeah.
Here we
When
go.
we did our role play thing,
Yeah.
I was like, Mathis, you need lights. It looks like you're in a cave, and you
and
don't.
lights.
It's a terrible light.
This
Everything's
is-
so
Well,
dark.
it's one
This is
light
bright
bulb.
for Mathis, though. He usually has
That's
got a
true.
hood on. He's down like this. And then he's like, I'd have to turn off my lights, but it's not good.
That's a great look for you, Nick. I like that. I like the
Somebody-
the hood over the
Do you like
headset.
to crouch down?
Yeah, that's good.
I'll do like clutch felon look. I'm about to
First of
Assassin's
all-
Creed and steal something.
Rude. That's rude. I haven't done that in a long time. All right, a long time.
But you can never get it out of his blood, though. He was born that way. You'll die that way.
Hey, what do you want to talk about on today's podcast?
Well, yeah,
what's
we're gonna hit a couple of big games later on. We're gonna hit Monster Hunter World a little bit more in depth now that people have had some time to play it and check it out. And I have been playing a lot of Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and it's kind of my first fighter that I'm taking semi seriously, and I think I want to talk about that. But why don't we just
Semi-seriously, why not seriously?
because I'm still not sure what I'm doing half the time. Like I have some basic combos, but most of the time I still feel like I'm button mashing as opposed to like strategically choosing my next maneuver.
Mm.
Is there anything other than that in fighting games?
Apparently, yes, there is. Apparently, there's all kinds of tech, and Nick can get into that, but
Tekken.
Tekken.
All
But
right.
we're gonna start a little bit more just kind of casual. What you guys been up to this week? What you been playing? I know Crendor specifically has been playing a lot of WoW Alpha.
Oh yeah, I played a lot of the World of Warcraft Alpha. I was lucky enough to know people and get in, and
Ooh, that's
you know,
big.
and They give you two things. You can either play the Alliance zone or the Horde zone, like the first area, but it's a pretty big area. And so I played Horde, and I played through it, and it's pretty cool.
You just like walking up and down the Barrens, just hanging out.
No, it's what's it called? Nazir. You'd think I would know from playing it for like 2 days.
The Nazgul.
That's something else.
It's Lord of the Rings.
Nazmir. It is
also
Nazmir.
Nazgoth, but that's like
It's like a troll. It's actually kind of a dark thing. It was like trolls pinned up against the wall. They got spears through them. There's like pots of blood and shit.
Sounds kind of metal.
But okay,
It's
so
kind of metal.
explain to me then, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
They're changing the crafting, right? I mean, not the crafting, leveling. The way leveling works is going to be every mob is automatically adjusted to your your level.
They've already done this in Legion Mathis.
Did they do that at Legion at the start of Legion?
Yeah, you could level in any zone you wanted.
Really?
Was
From
that the-
level 1?
Was it at the start of Legion?
Well,
I thought
from level 100.
Right, but I thought they're doing that for the entire game now. Am I incorrect in my thought
Well, yeah, now
process?
they're doing it for the whole game. So
Okay.
you can go to any zone and it'll scale.
Okay, that's kind of cool, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think a lot of the issue with leveling, as far as WoW is concerned, is constantly having to do the same stuff over and over again, and be able to just go wherever you want and maybe see some content that you didn't check out before. I think that's really good. Yeah. I don't know if it's gonna get me to go back. Is the thing. I don't know if I'm gonna go back. Like I went back for Legion. I got to 110, and I didn't do any of the raids or the dungeons. Like I just didn't have the time. I don't know if I'm going to go back and go, I'm assuming 120 is like the next stop as far as leveling is concerned. Because
Well, just from doing this zone, I got 3 levels. And I think there's 3. I guess it makes sense. I think there's only 3 or 4 different zones per thing you can do. So I got 3 levels from that. Because it's split between Horde and Alliance now. They're going back to the Horde versus Alliance.
Right. I think that's good because a lot of the world PvP and stuff was gone because they came together. Were you going to say Sinvicta?
No, I was going to say that. I mean, bringing it back to Horde versus Alliance is what I was hoping that they would do. That's the only thing that would actually get me interested in going back is actually start doing PvP videos again. But I think that everyone loves and sort of misses the classic, orcs versus humans sort of mentality that Warcraft used to have, and now it went off to fantastic, whimsical, magical places and. Finally coming back to actual war, it's like, oh, cool. We can finally put the war back in Warcraft. Let's do it.
Here's the thing, though. I never really cared about the Alliance versus the Horde. I have a Horde character. I have an Alliance character. I don't care. Some people are like, that's heresy. You can't do that. It's kind of like having 2 sports teams you enjoy. It's like being in New York or Chicago and liking both the Mets and the Yankees or the Cubs and the White Sox. You can't do that. But I feel like with Alliance and Horde, I don't know, it's been out so long, I'm like, well, I might as well level Alliance character. And then I made a gnome, alright? I'm not afraid to admit it. I have a gnome mage. And then on Horde, I just play all my Horde characters I've had for a while, so I don't know. I'm not a big, oh yeah, Loktar, Ogar, it's whatever.
I'm with you. I'm not a huge, I played Alliance, surprise, surprise, when I played WoW, but... What I miss about the Alliance, the Horde versus Alliance, I don't give a shit about the lore and why they're fighting each other, but the early vanilla leveling experience of once you hit level 15 to 20, you're crossing into PvP zones, and the knowledge that there are other players from the other side equal level of you as you, and you can run into them in that world PvP conflict that I feel like has mostly been lost with each expansion. To hopefully have that again is what I think I would be the most excited for. Because PvP was pretty relegated to the arenas, basically, and people who wanted to do it professionally. But for me, like it was always like the Arathi Highlands fights and that kind of thing, and seeing like a field of skeletons after just a huge fight took place.
Yeah, old school Terran Mill, man.
Arathi Highlands.
Right. Remember that the one with the world area, or I might be thinking of the one with the human farm and then the horde village near the water.
That's Arathi Basin. Oh, wait.
Hillsbred Foothills. Yeah,
Hillsbred.
Yeah. Not Arathi. Arathi's the Raptors.
I just want to highlight my idiocy because when I said that I thought you were going to be walking up and down the Barrens, I thought we were talking about the classic servers having gone live. So I thought that's what you were into. I didn't realize there was an alpha for the new expansion.
No, I was streaming and people would be like, "Is this Vanilla WoW?" And I'm like, "Does it look like Vanilla WoW?" Maybe they don't know what Vanilla WoW looks like.
They definitely don't, because if you remember anything about Vanilla WoW, you remember the god-awful human models. and a lot of the NPC models were just terrible.
You remember the wooden shield when they did the first expansion?
Yep.
There was like level 70 wooden shield and it looked awful.
Yep.
But it was powerful.
Fun fact, it was the same model that the rogues used to start with back in beta a long time. This is like
really? Oh shit.
It's like 2011 whenever the WoW beta was. That's when I first started playing. And it was not 2011, it was whenever. But it was when rogues actually started with bucklers. And it was like that same model that they used that they brought it in for level 70, which I thought was hilarious.
That's funny. I remember. Yeah, it's talk about the beta. I remember back. Was it the alpha where Taurens didn't get mounts? They went down on all fours and ran like an animal.
Yeah, they had travel form. That was a long. I mean, that was.
So I got the like original manual from when I bought the game in like January of 05. I bought it like the day after New Year's in 05. Because it just came out like 2 months ago, but you couldn't find it anywhere. Like you had to go find a box copy of it because you couldn't buy it online.
Right.
And so I remember I got it and I looked through the manual and it was like, Tauren have to run everywhere. They can't use mounts. And I was like, oh, interesting. I looked in the game like, wait, they have mounts.
They just
though.
giant mounts.
I don't think they updated the manual yet.
That might be a collector's item at this point.
That was the cool thing about
true.
making a Tauren, was being a Tauren warrior, have like your shield and everything on you, and then you have the largest possible mount out of everything, because they scale up for the particular race that you're playing. So Taurens always had gigantic mounts. That was the coolest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's really neat. Sorry, guys, I forgot that the topic has to be fixed, and whenever I open up the text for XSplit, it's gigantic, and it just says Title T. And
Title T.
Well, that's where Title T
is coming from.
Title T.
Title T.
I can do that, and then we can...
I thought it was like something to do with our taxes that we needed to be aware of.
Beside your Title T for that.
We're talking about games right now, just a bunch of random stuff. So
it's a giant game over Mathis's face.
That's why I was like...
Giant game.
There we go. We're talking about some games right now. There we go. Sorry, chat, but there's Title T. That's why Title T flooded the chat. So I was like, oh, let's do the topic, and then a giant Title T came over Crendor's face. I was like, maybe later.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I guess I should probably open chat. Hello, chat. How are you doing?
Yeah, keep chat open. Well, I'm excited. I don't know. I say I'm not going to go back, but I'll probably go back and dabble a little bit and maybe hit max level again. But rating and all that stuff, I don't particularly give a shit about. But. I'm excited.
Well, normally what I do is every expansion I'll play for like 2 to 3 months, and then after playing for 2 to 3 months, I hit a point where I'm like, all right,
yeah,
that was pretty good, and I just don't do anything for a while, and then I come back when everything else I missed is out, and then I just do all that towards the end of the expansion.
Yeah. And it makes sense when you're not really on that gear grind anymore. What about you, Nick? Are you going to go back and check out the expansion?
It's still... my general policy has been it takes up too much of my time, and I'm too easily addicted to it. And it's not the best use of my time in general. Like, if I could make content about it and I was really hyped to do that, maybe. But I don't think I'm super hyped to do that. So if I played it, it would be casually, and then I would play it too much.
So you would just
stay away.
Avoid it. Makes
no
sense.
offense, though. Anybody that loves it, I mean, I hear you. I was in that same grind for a bunch of years, and I had to get out. I was too addicted.
Yeah. No, I was like that up through not Frozen Throne.
I stopped at Cataclysm.
Yeah. Cataclysm, I think, where my fallout point was as well, where I kind of was.
I think a lot of people stopped after Wrath of the Lich King, because that was kind of like the peak. Where it's like, all right, everybody wants to beat the Lich King since Warcraft 3.
Yep.
And then everyone did that, and then it's like, all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here comes Mr. Pandaria, and it's gone.
but Miss Pandaria does have that Pokemon that brought in that Pokemon.
I'm one of the weird outliers that actually didn't mind Mr. Pandaria that much. I thought that they did some really neat things. I hated fighting monks in PvP, but I didn't mind Mist. I hated Cataclysm with a passion. I still think it's the worst WoW expansion that's have come out.
I would give that to Draenor.
See, I didn't play it. I did the same thing I did with Draenor as I did with Legion. I pre-ordered it, played it for literally maybe 2 or 3 hours, and then I was reminded why I don't play WoW anymore, and just stopped. So I can't I can't speak for Draenor or for Legion, but I hated Cataclysm so much.
WoD was terrible compared to Cataclysm, because Cataclysm you at least went out into the world and did things, while with WoD it was like, hey guys, do you like your garrison? And I'm like, I guess so. And they're like, well, how would you like to never leave it? And I was like, all right.
I guess that's something we can do.
Yeah.
It was the whole phasing thing kind of turned me off once that became like a big deal for most of the quests, and I really didn't like that there could be all these people here I couldn't see. And I didn't really know when I was going to trigger the phasing in any particular zone. So, I don't know. It was a minor thing, but that combined with like them blowing up most of the game world, I just didn't really feel it after that point.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of similar to me. Like, Cataclysm is where I fell off. I did come back for Draenor. Once Draenor became a Facebook game where you just never left your garrison, I just was like, I was done. I think Legion was a good step in the right direction. I think they did a lot of things right with Legion. So, I'll probably come back, but I don't know how long I'll stay, just because there's nothing for me to do after you hit max level, and after you've seen everything, and I've gone through my nostalgia phase of flying through every old zone again for the 100th time, and being like, I remember this music, I remember this, that, and the other, so... Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I'm excited because I know I'm going to play it, but I don't want to play it, but I'll play it anyway, so...
Yeah.
That's just how it's going to go.
You're a man of many emotions, Mathis.
Yeah, basically, it's low impulse control is my problem, and I just... If I want it bad enough, I'm eventually going to play it. So
if you ever want to sell anything, sell Mathis that rock that keeps tigers away.
Right, exactly. Cool.
The rock that keeps tigers away?
Yeah. That's spacious reasoning, Dad. How so?
Well, tell me later.
by your logic, I could say that this rock keeps tigers away. Oh, how does it work? It doesn't work. It's just a rock. Uh-huh. You see any tigers around? Lisa, I'd like to buy your rock.
I see you're quoting The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I got kind of confused for a bit.
Yeah, I was lost for a little while. But
same logic as like everyone that's ever died has drank water, so don't drink water. I gotcha.
Right, gotcha. Cool.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, that's true. What else have you guys been playing this week? Anybody else want to jump in with something?
There's a bunch of new games came out this week that I've been working on. So Laser League, I played a bit of that on the NLSS. Had a surprisingly good time with it. I wasn't really expecting much from it, to be honest. I really didn't know the premise, but I just thought it looked kind of cool, kind of Tron-like. Turns out it's a fairly strategic... I don't even know what to exactly call it. It's like an arena co-op bullet hell avoidance game, except the bullets are lasers, and also they spin in patterns. So, yeah, imagine 2v2, where it's like each of your people on your team have their own class, and they can like either steal the laser emitters, or they can like freeze someone in place. And then you got to run around and keep tagging these little poles, and the poles activate with your team's color. If the opponent touches your team's color, they die, and you got to kill the other two people on the other team. So there's little strategies that emerge, and they just keep making it harder and harder as you go. It starts to look a little Geometry Wars-esque, and we played about an hour's worth of that, and had a really good time with it. So Sweet. As it turns out, I would recommend Laser League if you like that kind of thing.
I feel like I got a code for that game. I might check it out. But is it really like meant for multiplayer?
Yeah, I would say so.
Cool. Gotcha.
It's just deeper than you'd think at first glance. It looks pretty simple, but after a few minutes, you kind of get it a bit more.
Tell me about... Can you tell me, did you guys play Mount Your Friends 3D?
Yeah.
Tell me about
it. It was just the same kind of game as the 2D version, but it actually works fantastic in 3D as well.
How do you control it? Same idea?
It's easier, actually. They simplified it down as just 2 buttons. It's left and right click.
Okay.
So you click and drag, and when you click left, it grabs your left arm, click right, grabs your right arm, and the further you drag it, the further it like pulls the arm in that direction. So you just have to basically drag it towards some object and then release, and it'll grab that object.
Okay.
It's very intuitive. We all got it in about 2 games. We were all fine.
Sweet.
We're not to the point where we're making big old leaps yet, I mean, I tried it a few times, failed a couple times, successful a couple times. But in, I think, another couple days of playing it, we'll be right up to where we were in the 2D version.
Cool.
It's very wacky. There's a lot of dongs.
A lot of 3D Unity dongs.
Hundreds of dongs.
Just
you can grab onto them and use them to pull yourself up. It's pretty fun to watch, too, I think. Chat seemed to like it anyway.
The eyes are weird, someone in chat said. Is that true?
Yeah, there's a lot of eyes. In fact, Steger, the developer's eyes are in it, too.
Sweet. And
you can make your own characters and like import stuff too.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I got a key offer from that. I haven't checked it out. I enjoyed the first one though.
Right,
yeah,
so
same kind of premise.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
I've been playing a lot of Slay the Spire, of course, getting my way through Ascension mode. I made a point to tell the developer that I thought that some of the mobs were a little bit overtuned for the higher Ascension levels. Because like the cultist in particular is the one that triggered that. It's the 3 birdmen that you have to fight, and the ones that have the stacking strength buff. Like every round they gain 3 strength. Well, the way that the new Ascension stuff works now is that all mobs hit harder, but they also change the way that like strength like stacks on itself for those particular mobs, for the cultists. And it's like, yeah, you could deal with that if this was in like the 3rd tower, but this was the first fight of the 2nd tower. Like, there is no way, unless if you just have the perfect deck, there's no way anyone's going to be able to beat that. And I was like, all right, this is a little bit frustrating. And then I just remembered that, I can just go play Monster Hunter World. So,
well, maybe you just didn't give it enough tries. Maybe you would have.
I eventually beat
it.
This morning. I actually did finally get through 3, and I'm on 4 now with the Ironclad. It seems a lot easier to do with the Silent now, which is odd because people like to consider the Ironclad the easier of the two. I prefer the Silent. I think that she's a lot easier, and she has more unique decks that you can make. I mean, for me, the Ironclad, the builds I go for are either just nonstop clashes or it's body slam builds all day, every day. I mean, if you don't build anything like that to one extreme or another, you're going to get trucked by the new harder hitting mobs. So, but Mega Crit, the developer, they did say that it's supposed to be tough, which I understand, like I get. But I do think that some of them are a little bit overtuned towards the later parts of the 2nd and 3rd tower, and they said that they're, they can always tweak it. So,
the game's still in early access, right?
Yep, but they haven't released the 3rd hero yet either.
I was gonna say there are only those 2 heroes, right? So
yeah, I imagine they'll do like a mage one or something.
Everyone's suspecting a mage. I think what would be neat is that they did like sort of like a, not a necromancer, but like a pet class or a hunter or something like that, where you could either buff the attacks of the hero or buff the attacks of like a hawk or something like that. I think that something like that would be cool. But I think that a mage would be probably working with dots or something like that would work.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I still haven't dove into the game yet.
It's good. Know. You'll like it. I know that you liked the dungeon modes for Hearthstone at BlizzCon, so it's like that, except fleshed out a little bit better.
Right. And I don't have to buy packs.
Mm-hmm. And other than that, just playing Monster Hunter World, Summoner's War, and the new Civ 6 expansion, which is pretty darn good.
I have not touched the Civ 6 expansion yet.
I wanted to play that.
It for $30, it's pretty steep, but I spent 4 hours with it yesterday, and it's already like they added a lot of things in Civ that I would have loved to have had in the base game. It feels a little bit more complete now. So, and
that seems to be the way Civ goes. People always when a new Civ launches, like it's the weakest Civ ever, and by the time the expansions are done, they're like it's the best Civ that's out there. So,
I think Civ 5 still beats it for now, but Civ 6 is in the right direction. I mean, they have this. I don't want to go on a tangent because it's not on the docket, but they add a lot of really good stuff in the Rise and Fall expansion that I think that people will. If you're fans of the series, you've been asking for a lot of the things that they added. So far in the expansion, it's worth it.
Well, what's like your favorite things they've added then?
The biggest thing that blew my mind was there is a new dynamic system called Emergencies, and it is designed to stop one player or one civ from getting too out of control. So what will happen is that if the game, I don't know how it's calculated, but the short and skinny of it is that if a civ is getting too powerful, if they've already dominated one civ out of the game, there will be this dynamic pop-up that says emergency situation, and it will give you a list of tasks that says so and so is getting too powerful. They've flexed their muscle too much. This needs to be controlled. Blah blah blah. If you choose to participate in this event, it shows you the list of rewards. You get like a Golden Age, and Golden Age, Dark Age, all that's been completely revamped. But you get gold for all the members, all the civs who like decide to take part in trying to stop. Let's just call it, let's say the Romans. Like if the Romans took over India, the game will say, "Hey, Rome is getting way too powerful. You know, does any civ out there want to form some sort of a temporary coalition to stop Rome's progression? If you do and you're successful, you get these rewards based off of if you're able to do it. If they fail, then Rome will receive buffs to their economy, buffs to their growth, that sort of thing for a limited duration, and they also receive strength bonuses for the military stuff. But that sort of dynamic event thing is something that I think Civ has needed for a very long time. And people were mentioning it in my chat yesterday that Civ 4 had something similar to that. I never played Civ 4, so it was new to me, but that was the most mind-blowing. I was like, oh my god, like having dynamic events now to stop one Civ from going crazy, like this is totally worth it.
That almost sounds like a bit of
fun.
Comes right out of EU4, like being able to form a coalition against a civ or a country that's getting out of control, too powerful, and people team up to stop him. That's good, because that's one of the things that keeps EU4 in check as far as like steamrolling countries. So
the last thing I will say though is if you do decide to pick it up and you see one of these military emergencies, be aware that it shows it says participants. And it lists all the possible people who could actually take effect. Well, it's kind of misleading because when I first saw it, I thought that, there's already 5 people in on this. Let's just get this. Let's just do whatever we need to do, and I'll take the split pot of 3,000 gold or whatever. Turns out it only shows the people who are offered it, not the people who have confirmed it. So you get a little time to decide if you want to take part. Then the game prompts you a couple of turns later and says, "Now is the time." And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And I found out I was the only one to. So I ended up getting caught in this war that took for like 30 turns against a civ that I didn't even want to fight. I was just trying to capitalize. So just be aware if you see that the first screen that you see only shows the available participants, not the actual active participants.
That's good.
Sin chat wants me to ask if it's a must buy right now, or can you hang on and wait for a sale?
I mean, I'm not going to tell people what to do and what not to do with their money. I felt that $30 was too steep, but now that I have played it, I would say that I'm satisfied with my purchase. That's as far as I'll go for a recommendation.
Sure.
Cool.
Make your own judgment in the end, though, is what I say.
Well, I'll probably dip in at some point. I love strategy games.
It's good. It's good.
I know Gal Civ 3 is also getting a pretty big update soon with the new AI and a bunch of stuff, but I never really got into Gal Civ 3. But why don't we go right into the big game then? Because I could talk about Assassin's Creed Origins, but all I'll say is I started playing Assassin's Creed Origins. It's pretty okay.
Sounds like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, pretty much. Minus the combat. The combat is more Dark Souls-y, which I hate, but I mean control scheme-wise is exactly what it is. It's like heavy block, all that stuff with the dodge. It's fun, but it's still the same. It hasn't really changed all that much.
I also played Dendara this week.
I played a little bit of Dendara myself, actually. What do you think?
Very good. It grew on me. I thought the controls were going to be annoying, but actually they weren't. And the soundtrack was A+, so it kind of gave me a little bit of that push past the beginning of the minor bit of, like, not sure if I'm into this.
Yeah.
And then once I got, like, an hour in, I was like, yeah, no, I am into this for sure.
I never got to that point. I only played it for about 30 minutes, and the controls, I was like, this is unique, but I'm sick of them. And I was like, I wanted the freedom to move. So the way Dendara works, by the way, is you can't walk left or right. You can only aim where you want to jump, and you basically jump from the ceiling to the floor. And like kind of do this.
There's little white like snowy spaces.
Yeah.
And there's no gravity really. You can only go from any point in line of sight to any other point in line of sight within a certain range. So like you can actually go from the floor to the wall, but usually you go from the floor to the ceiling.
Yeah.
It's just whatever you can reach. And it gets wilder and wilder.
What's up? You're going to go from the window to the wall.
No.
I wanted you to. Yeah. I was waiting for it. I was like, he's going to do it. He's going to do it.
No, I had my game mode in my head. I wasn't thinking of jokes right then.
All right. Fair enough.
It's a missed opportunity.
I know.
It really
it's a home run.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the first big game then of the week. Let's talk about Monster Hunter World. We talked a little bit about Monster Hunter last podcast, but really only a couple people have played it for a little bit. We didn't get a ton, but now that the game's been out for like a week, or rather like 3 weeks, and a ton of people have put a ton of time into it, someone take it away.
2 weeks.
2 weeks or so. Sinvicta, why don't you start? with your impressions of Monster Hunter so far, because you jumped into Monster Hunter what? 4?
Generations was the first one I ever played, and I instantly fell in love with it. But I will say that Monster Hunter World is the best Monster Hunter game, period, that's ever been made. There are a couple flaws with it, but after, I think I'm close to like maybe 100 hours by now. Like, it's everything that I've been dreaming for and more after it got released, or after it got announced. I mean, I rarely ever buy into the hype of a game, but Monster Hunter World is I think it is the definitive way to play Monster Hunter. And once Capcom smooths out a couple of the issues with the camera and the online quest hub, it's a little bit wonky. But once they get those smoothed over, I mean, it's an instant buy. I think if anyone who's ever been interested in Monster Hunter, it's the best one to get into because it's good.
Let me actually
Congrats to Capcom.
Let me actually ask the question. Like, out of the three of you, is this all of your? Have you all played a Monster Hunter a bunch, or is this anybody's first Monster Hunter?
I played Monster Hunter back with a Wii U for a bit for a brand deal.
Oh, okay,
with
so
Maker Studios. They're like, you want to play Monster Hunter and someone will teach you it for money? And I was like, I guess so. And so I did that. And
Crendor do anything for money.
And then a few months ago, everybody I knew was playing. Well, my friend group was playing like old Monster Hunter games. They're playing Monster Hunter Portable 3rd.
Oh, wow.
And they're using completely legal means to do so. And they're like, here, try these completely legal means of playing Monster Hunter 3rd. So I tried that. It was pretty fun. And then we played the one that got ported to the Switch. It was like a DS one.
Yeah, it's Double Cross.
Yeah, Double Cross. That one was okay, but it was all in Japanese. So
oh god, yeah.
That was kind of a bad part. I didn't play it very long.
Yeah,
and then and then Monster Hunter World. I actually enjoyed Monster Hunter World a lot, but now I've hit a point where everybody's doing hard modes and they're like going crazy and trying to craft all the gear, and I'm like, I enjoyed it, but I don't really want to keep playing.
Is it one of those things where once you realize you fell behind, it's just
it's not even that I fell behind. It's like I knew I wasn't going to catch up to someone like Sam, who's like hunter level 100 at this point.
Who has been suffering from bronchitis for like 3 years, but because he refuses...
my bronchitis turned into like pleuritis, and I was like, that's probably bad. You should probably stop streaming. And he's like, I should probably take a break. Yeah. And then he's like, all right, guys, 15-hour stream today. And I'm like, okay.
Jeez.
I'll just cough on the monsters. It'll die from sickness.
But it's like I wasn't ever like, oh man, Monster Hunter, I'm gonna play this like nonstop. It was one of those things where like I enjoyed playing it with all my friends. I'd play it every so often by myself, but I'm not a big like human versus AI person. I prefer multiplayer competitive games, which is why I play so much Battlegrounds and League of Legends and all that. That's just my preference. So I'm like, all right, well, it's fun, but I don't really want to keep playing.
I feel like I kind of fall in that same category. Like I played, my first Monster Hunter was the Wii one, 3 or 3 Ultimate or whatever it was, and I was like, I saw like what people were excited about, but I couldn't get into it. Then I tried again with Generations on the 3DS, and then that's where it clicked a little bit better for me because all my friends were playing it. But like you, it got to a point where all my friends got beyond me as far as gear and monsters, and I was just like. I was looking at that mountain of progress I needed to make on my own. I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to do this by myself. It was really fun playing with others. And now that everybody's playing Monster Hunter World on the PS4, and I'm like, I'll wait for PC. By the time the PC one rolls around, nobody's going to want to do it again. And I don't have anybody to play with. For yourself. All right, except for maybe Sinvicta. I assume that people won't want to do it again. If there's a group there that's going to be playing it when it hits PC, I'll definitely play. But if I realize I'm kind of alone and people are blitzing by me, I don't know if I really see myself picking it up pretty heavily.
My theory for this is that by the time that the PC version comes out, undoubtedly Capcom would have released at least one major or two major content updates along with the weekly events that they've got going on. So I think that there's going to be, and obviously improvements in optimization. I think there's going to be more than enough that Capcom can offer to the PS4 or the early adopters of the Xbox One buyers that says, hey, we have all the new features that you had to wait and download for on your console, but now they're included in the base game for PC. Plus, it's optimized. Plus, it's online. Maybe they'll revamp. I have a feeling that it's by the time the PC release rolls around, there's gonna be enough value in it to justify doing it again. And if not, then I'd still buy it because it's Monster Hunter. How can you not buy it?
All right. So, here's the thing.
You can't just say that as like your main, like, what do you like about the game? It's Monster Hunter, just buy it.
That's what I was gonna be like. All right, that's where I was gonna go. Is like, because Nick, you've been playing Monster Hunter World. How much have you put into it so far?
Like 5 hours.
Where do you fall
Not
on
much,
like
honestly.
how much you're enjoying it?
Well, to give you my backstory,
Yeah.
I've been buying Monster Hunter games and not playing them pretty much since the beginning of the series. So I think I own at least 3 or 4 Monster Hunter games before this one, and I've maybe put in a combined hour across all of them. So I got the original one on PS2, I got one on PSP, I have one for my 3DS, and I have one for Wii U, and now I have this. So this is my 5th Monster Hunter game, and this is the most I've played any of it.
Oh, really? 5 hours, and out of all of that, that's the most.
Maybe an hour combined across all the other ones. Yes.
Jesus. All right.
So for me, it's the strangest thing because it's the most convoluted game that's the most popular I've ever seen. I get at a base level what's so appealing about it, and I'm even sort of into it. But then there's so much friction on every single level of playing it. Everything you do involves so much going through menus and like dealing with nonsense with NPCs and like kind of weird, just like matchmaking problems and shit's just kind of like off.
Well, I guess that this one, they've kind of streamlined that in a way.
Yeah.
Like all the older ones are really bad with that. And I think this one's the best out of all of them because it's more westernized.
Yes, it's definitely simpler from my experience. It's still like 80% not simple enough, though. I feel like it's way off from being like a mainstream game, but yet people love it. So I'm sort of awestruck by how much people are willing to put up with in terms of friction to play the series. I guess the appeal of hitting those monsters with swords just like absolutely knocks people out.
Well, that's like PUBG, right? People are willing to put up with an insane amount of PUBG sloppiness because it's the best type of its game in existence.
Yeah, but I think Monster Hunter is more along the lines of, say, even WoW, where you spend all that time raiding and fighting bosses and getting gear. And it's kind of that, but on a lesser... it's a gear grind, but you can do it by yourself. You can do it with a couple other people. Right. And instead of having things like, you got to up your intellect and it's all gear-based, so you can just swap to anything you want. So it's like, you want to go from a mage to a druid, just get the gear, and then you can do that. And I think that's a big appeal, is doing all the different bosses and monsters in different ways.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most apt way to describe Monster Hunter to someone who has either never played or is curious about it would be like, it's a spectacle boss rush killing game, like ARPG. Like, and the appeal for me comes into the different, how the game feels when you change weapons. It's so easy, especially now in World. It's never been easier to swap from one weapon to the other. You don't even have to worry about gunner sets or fighter sets or anything like that, but I will agree with Nick that someone who does have some experience with the series, the way that some of the menus are done don't seem logical. Specifically the upgrade tree one. I thought when I first saw it, I was like, oh, hey, look, we can finally see what it's going to look like. We can see all the new, like, what the parts are that we're going to need from what particular monster. But I realized that if I'm looking at this for the first time ever, and I've never seen a Monster Hunter game, I'd be confused to hell. I would not know what's going on. They're talking about bounties. They're talking about what's the difference between a bounty and an investigation. What's expedition mode? The new player experience in Monster Hunter is notoriously terrible. I think that they went in the right direction with Generations. They could have done a better job, I think, with World, but I don't know. I don't know if part of the game plan was for Capcom to say, well, there's plenty of great YouTubers out there like Rex or Gaijin Hunter or Apex. Just go check out their guides, and then if you need follow-up help, just ask your friends or go to Reddit or something. But I think they could have done a little bit better job at streamlining the new player experience.
Well, hit me with what the new player experience is now, because from just my experience, because I haven't played World, when you start up, it's like 3 hours of fucking boring collecting missions of like get honey and get mushrooms, and
it's not like that at all.
You're thinking nonsense stuff.
You're thinking of it as you're thinking of it from like a Generations side, because that's what Generations was.
Yeah,
Monster Hunter World is not like that. You don't have to. I mean, there are like gather quests that if you want to do them, you can. But if you just want to stick to strictly boss killing and hunting, you can either do that in expedition mode, which is just a free roaming sandbox mode, and you have to kill the monsters before they flee, or you can have a more streamlined go down the story quest. There's very light amount of fetch questing built into the main story stuff. Now on the side quests, there definitely is that there's like a bounty that says, hey, collect 15 honey, we'll give you an armor sphere and some research points that you can use to upgrade stuff or buy stuff with. But it is absolutely not as mandatory as it was back in Generations and Double Cross, like it is in World. I mean, World, it's nowhere near as monotonous, in my opinion anyway, because I don't remember ever feeling like, ugh, I got to do another gather quest. It's very good.
I just want to jump in. Basically, this is my new player experience. My experience was, as I went through it, I kept noticing you'd read a tutorial box. It was like 4 paragraphs sometimes. You hit a button. It said, do you want to close the tutorial? I was like, yes, I finished reading. And then it would close it, and you'd change to another menu. It'd immediately be a different tutorial about a different topic that has nothing to do with what you were just reading, and you were still trying to process the last information.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, get that from a basic design point. You want to guide people through this sort of long linear sequence. But then I've actually been playing the game for a bunch of hours, and they never gave me a tutorial about how I should know to do the combo on the weapon that I'm on. Like the thing that's actually important, they never teach you, but they teach you about like the difference between posting a quest versus some other thing you do with a quest. It's like, but it's all lingo for them.
Yeah.
Like, the actual gameplay doesn't really relate to how convoluted they made it seem. It's actually a much simpler game that they've dressed up with tons of language that isn't necessary.
I mean, like, when I played Generations, I went to, I think it was Gaijin Hunter's YouTube videos to teach me the weapon combos and stuff, because the game didn't do a good enough job being like, here's how this works.
Mm-hmm.
So I jumped into, I think, Charge Blade, which is the sword and shield that becomes like a big sword. And there's a lot of mechanics involved with that, but the game, I'm sure it's in the game to teach you how, but it's buried and you have to go out of your way to look for how to learn how that weapon. Or I can turn on a 30-minute YouTube video with Gaijin Hunter and he'll hit every, like, here's why this is important, this is when you want to do this is when you do that. I want that in this game. Like I need that.
I had Rumble Muffin guide me, and that was very helpful.
Right.
I think the point Nick was making though is that you shouldn't have to do that. It should
Agreed.
just be in the game.
Yeah, it should be. It should just be in the game.
To be fair, all the combos that you need to do, that you need to have in the game, are in the game. You just have to look it up in the weapon info guide menu. If you go to the training yard, it does show you basic combos, but it doesn't teach you absolutely everything that you need to know about the finer nuances. And I guess I could sort of see the logic there is like, well, we don't want to flood the new player with all kinds of stuff that they're not even, like, we're talking about critical distance, we're talking about bouncing if your files are overcharged or anything like that. We just want them to learn how to the basics of the weapon. But I do think that there could have been a easier, tidier middle ground between the two to say, if you would like to learn, if you want to try out our advanced training area, you can go here and we'll put you in the arena with a monster, and you can figure it out for yourself. Or if you can have I love, by the way, shout out to Capcom for putting stuff that I don't think anyone in Monster has ever asked for, putting the actual button combos in sequential order whenever you do them to tell you exactly what the name of the move that you're doing. I think that's very fighting style-esque, and I think that was something that the series sorely lacked until World.
To piggyback off of that same sentiment, they also added some other really great usability things, which I don't think they teach you are there, but Rumble Muffin told me about, setting up your loadout. So essentially you go to your item chest and then you just pick your loadout. It just puts away everything you have and then puts the stuff you want back. That's
beautiful.
Huge.
It's beautiful.
In addition, having recipes basically set up for crafting. So when you want to get the next thing in your list for whatever armor you're looking for, you pick stuff you put on a wish list, and then it always keeps track of what you're trying to get. That's like really useful stuff.
That's huge.
The wish list is awesome. The wish list is absolutely awesome.
In addition to having some FAQ type stuff built right into the game, when you beat on a monster after a while, you learn stuff about it, and then it puts notes with actual diagrams of what you can do. Like, how do you kill this faster? Well, look at the picture. That's very handy. Yeah. Instead of going to like a wiki for it.
Well, I think to me, Monster Hunter even has that same kind of thing vanilla WoW versus modern WoW has, where people don't want it to become too streamlined, or they feel
Right.
like you're being
It's tradition.
Yeah, like they're holding your hand as you go through everything. Well, it's like, remember when we used to just go into trade chat and be like looking for group?
Yeah.
And now it's like I click the buttons
Man,
and all
does
that.
everybody
And I think
make DKP points or whatever? Oh, heck yeah.
Meet you at the Dead Mines.
so. I think if they were to keep doing things like that, you'd get a lot of backlash from the actual Monster Hunter fans being like, "This is getting to be baby's game. Like, I don't want to play this anymore."
I hate
There are
that
already
thought
people-
process, though, man.
People are already complaining about that the second the E3 trailer came out, the reveal, and I'm like,
You know nothing
clearly-
about it.
well, I love the fact that Monster Hunter is just a smash hit in everywhere. I mean, they've shipped over 6 million units already. That's just in almost 2 weeks. I mean, that's nuts. Like that sort of sales figure has been sorely lacking in the Western markets for Monster Hunter, which is awesome. That means that finally Capcom can see, hey, everyone wants Monster Hunter. Start giving us more Monster Hunter over here instead
Right.
of keeping it just to Japanese imports or 3DS.
Yeah, that was really weird to do that. But you actually bring up a good point. Is that I'd love to see Monster Hunter treat its player base like Dragon Ball FighterZ. Actually, a game we're going to talk about here in a little bit treats its new player base, where there's a million different ways you can learn that game built into the game. And I think that's something Monster Hunter desperately has been needing for a long time. The fact that I could boot up Dragon Ball FighterZ, never have really played a fighting game competitively in any way other than button mashing, and the game gives me like 4 different ways I can learn combos and learn how the fighting system works and what does what, and not have to go and open a wiki or open like one little subsect of the game to where it lists everything I need to know. Like, learn by doing, and I think that's where video game strong suits are. And I wish Monster Hunter would do more of that. Like Sinvicta was saying, like throw me in an advanced arena where I'm not allowed to leave until I master these combos for the weapon that I'm trying to learn. Give me that option to beat myself over the head with the same combo until I've got it down, because I think it would help.
They could have taken a page out of Rocket League. I can't believe I'm about to make this connection, but. Something that
Monster
Rocket
Hunter
League,
is the Rocket League of Dark Souls.
Yeah, I mean something that I think that Rocket League did, and I don't think they got enough credit for. They still don't. I think is the training stuff that you can do in between cues. If you just want to practice aerials, if you want to practice keeping the ball off the ground, you can do that, and they have specially designed drills to allow you to fine tune it. Some of it's randomized. I think if Monster Hunter had something like that says, you cannot, if you wish to truly practice, if you want to pass this course, go to the next course, you need to cut the tail off of this Rathian in 2 minutes, you have to land a 5 full file super burst with your charge blade 3 times before 90 seconds on this, on this Kuliyaku or whatever before you go to the next. I think that Monster Hunter would greatly appreciate and also help itself out if they put some sort of training mode like that in with a target dummy, or Monster Hunter, as weird as this is, that system did exist in a Monster Hunter game on Monster Hunter Online, which is the Chinese MMO version, which I played.
That existed. Yeah.
I played that for a while. It's good. I mean, it was really good. But they do have that sort of thing. It's not structured in a mission based, or like you have to hit it so many times, but they give you like a Zenogre to practice against. And you can just freely switch between the weapons. You can try the combos. You can say, hey, make me do this combo, this combo, this combo, and you'll be forced to do that. So
Wait,
I was
that stuff's
surprised.
all in world, though. That's all in. If you go in your house, there's a training area. It's got like a dummy and you
No.
can
But what I'm saying is if it was structured like Rocket League, to say like you can't pass this course until you hit 10 aerial goals or something like that. You know what I mean? Right. So like if they had something like that, they brought in a dummy Rathian and said you have 2 minutes to cut out the tail, figure it out for yourself, or you can look up in your wiki info map that they give you in the game. I think that something like that would have been awesome. And if they ported that over from Monster Hunter Online, I think that they could have done themselves, they could have saved themselves a lot of headache for the new player experience.
I think the way they need to structure it is more giving you player autonomy at the beginning of the game instead of bringing you through a string of events. Where you feel overwhelmed by everyone telling you do X, do Y, do Z. Let you actually figure out what the consequences are for not doing X, Y, or Z, and why you would then want to do those things. because I felt like it was just a nonstop string of player interactions with NPCs that then triggered loading screens, tutorials, and reading, and tutorials and loading screens, more NPCs going to a different room. Okay, now go to the top of the town. Now go talk to this cat, and then he'll make you food. Now go to the bottom of the town, then read another tutorial, then go click on the... Just let me play the game a little bit, and then I'll start to get interested in why I want to go do all those things. And maybe my curiosity should drive me instead of obligation.
Yeah, and they don't tell you...
the problem with the first couple hours of the game is it's very tutorial, like story tutorial based, and it's kind of like, I don't want to do this. I just want to go play.
I bought this to hunt monsters, not figure out food bonuses.
It's such a simple concept, right? Everyone buys it going, Monster Hunter. I hunt monsters.
Right.
Why then does it take 3 hours to hunt the monsters? I just want to go hit stuff.
I just want to murder monsters. And it's not even like saying to make the controls easier or more casual. Leave them as complicated and as intricate as they are. But just do what a fighting games do. And if you want to practice that stuff, make it something I can do on my own. That way I can master X, Y, or Z. And not have to master it when I also have the pressure of actually losing to a monster. I think that's the difference, right? You want these practice things so you can do it freely without the pressure of a timer or the pressure of death looming over you. Where if you do it like in the field you're trying to learn, you have the pressure of, well, if I fuck up too much, I'm dead and I can't kill this monster anymore. I have to start from ground zero. That's why you would want a training room. So you can do it over and over and over and over and over again, because that's how people learn without the threat of death.
Man, we talking about practice.
We talking about practice.
Talking about playoffs?
Playoffs. Oh, you know what other game I played? What are you gonna say, Sinvicta?
I was just gonna ask Nick. My question to Nick would be after what we've detailed for the frustrations. Is that still a deal breaker for you? Or are you still interested in the game? Do you want to keep playing it?
Yeah, it's not a deal breaker. I actually was just going to come back to it if it was convenient to say I'm not trying to play this up like it's a terrible game or anything. I'm just given a hypercritical focus on this one thing because it irks the shit out of me. But if you get past that wall, I have a feeling it's probably very rewarding, and that's exactly what most people do and why the game is so popular.
Yeah, and I would say anyone who if you feel the same way, if you feel the same frustrations, definitely check out Wolf's Adopt a Hunter campaign that's going on.
Yeah.
He's got experience Monster Hunter, and he didn't pay me for this, by the way, but he could if you want to, Wolf. Definitely go check out Adopt a Hunter, what Big Bad Wolf has set up, and there's experienced hunters out there who recognize some of the frustrations that we've detailed here. Not all of them, but some of them. It's possible that because we want you to get over that hump to experience the game like we do, to see the richness and the fun factor of the game instead of being bogged down by monotonous menus and very vague storytelling elements that no one cares about in Monster Hunter. Because at the end of the day, I just want to kill stuff and make boots out of them.
I just have to tap into the feeling I had when I would play PS2 games or PS1 games, when it's like, I understand there's great stuff going on in this. You just have to get past the clunkiness of it being sort of an old, not modernized gameplay mechanic. Yeah. And this game is incredibly tapped into the tradition that it started with for good reason, because that's what made it so popular. And they're very hesitant to let go of much. And I do grant them that they've let go of a lot in this particular one to try and modernize it, but they're still really holding on to some of those traditions. And as long as you think about it that way, it's not such a big deal. It's just a little bit of a different framework to get the game within. If that bothers you, it might be annoying, but hopefully you'll stick with it.
The Coach Crendor talk about everybody's golf.
Well, we could talk about everybody's golf.
I thought that was the game you were going to go into. Sorry.
I wasn't. I played a game with Force Strategy Gaming. The old, he's just Force Gaming now.
He's rebranding again, though.
He's rebranding again. Good for him.
He
played Hunt Showdown.
Okay, that's that new game.
Yeah.
What is Hunt Showdown, Crendor?
So Hunt Showdown is kind of like a mixture of a battle royale type of game and a PvE game, and God, who made it? It was made by
Crytek, right? It's Crytek, isn't it?
Yeah, Crytek. That's what it is. And somebody in the chat was like, "This is like Crytek's final chance. If this game doesn't work, they're dead. They're going."
Well, I mean,
under.
they're already going under. I was surprised to see they had a game coming out.
Yeah. So the game runs terribly. It's really bad.
It's an old Crytek tradition as well, huh?
It made PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds look amazing for like running purposes.
Oh god.
Like it just the memory was so high, the CPU usage was terrible, and I had to like turn down all the graphics in order to play it efficiently. And then after okay, so here's what happens. You're in it's like a western themed what's it? I don't know how to. It's like a western. There's like mutant sci-fi western. It's like a sci-fi western type of game, and you go around and you use your power to find clues. So you like go into a weird it's like demon sense. Then you can sense the clues. And you're like, okay, it's over there. So you go over there, and then you find clues to find a boss, and then you kill that boss, and then you like set him. It's some weird thing. Like you do a summoning ritual, and then you're able to leave the map, and you win. And the thing is, as you do all this, other people are trying to do it. And so you can kill the other people, and I think you can win by killing everybody, or by doing the PvE. So it's like multiple paths to winning. But the problem is, it just feels really clunky right now. And I feel like if they have more time to really polish it up, it could be good. But it's not something that brings me back wanting to play more. We also died to Russians, me and Force. We were fighting them, and they're like, and I was like, Force, I think we're fighting the Russians, and he is just like, all right, get under the bridge, we'll try, and then he died. And I was like, all right.
Were they Russians doing the Ugandan knuckles meme? What the heck was that?
And that was my my Russian attempt. That's
Spasibo, Pizzosta.
Yeah. So yeah, that was it was a fun couple hours, and I was like, all right, I don't think I want to play it anymore. I think Crytek's gonna go under. That's what I'm saying.
It's actually really weird because I've seen a lot of people playing it, and it's usually one opinion or the other. Where someone seems to love it, or they come out on your end where you're like, it's got a lot.
They're getting very defensive of it, even in chat. I'd be like, I don't really like this thing. They'd be like, you just don't understand it. And I was like, I don't, apparently.
I think this is a great game. I'm going to make a top 10 best hunt showdown builds that you could do over at Force Strategy Gaming.
Well, like, so the game
Go
actually,
check it out.
I haven't played it, obviously, but it has some cool ideas where I like the idea of, like, everybody gets loaded into a map, and you're all doing a bounty hunt on this one demon, and you're trying to get this demon and make the money off that. I like that your characters are perma-killed, so if they die, they're dead forever. But if they live, they can level up and get better abilities and get better gear. And then there's also the meta level of, like, your bloodline that always levels up no matter what, and that unlocks better guns that your player character or whatever your model can end up using. I think that's a neat idea, but it does seem like it's incredibly early on in development and has a long way to go. And I'm curious if there's multiple paths to victory. Like, are people just going to figure out the easiest one is to just murder each other and just ignore the demon aspect? Yeah. Because that's a fear that I think...
Yeah, well, that's part of the problem. It just has so many questions about it, and it feels like it's a pre-alpha at this point. Like, even just playing the WoW alpha, I'm like, this game feels like pre-early access even, but I feel like they're just desperate at this point. Like, hey guys, check it out. And I'm like, well, this would be cool if you would put like another year or two of work into it.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Don't tell Sohinky that, man. He'll murder you in your sleep. That's all he's been tweeting about is the hunt. And he was like, the hunt, like the servers came offline. He's like, I don't know what to do. I'll go try Maev and Heroes of the Storm or something.
So Heroes of the Storm is a bad game, though. Why did you play that? You can play League of Legends.
Oh, God.
I do miss League.
And I miss Dota. That's fine.
Yeah, but Dota's a bad game, though.
No,
Dota is a bad game.
Oh my god,
bad game.
I'm not getting into this conversation.
Losers.
Oh
yeah, go play Heroes of New Earth.
Good, great callback. Play Han. One
say MOBAs are for losers, just straight out, just
MOBAs in general are just
for
losers.
All MOBAs are just for losers.
Yeah, all of them. League of Legends.
Too strong.
You can send complaints to Rockley Smile on Twitter or on twitch.tv/Rockley Smile.
The one thing that I both love and hate about MOBA communities is just the community in general. It's just a very special type of community. Like, for example, me and Gmart the other day were playing and we're like gold 4, gold 5-ish in league. And we were playing, we just had a bad game, and like our whole team had a bad game except our Draven. And our Draven said, "You guys haven't even graduated, quote, disable class."
Yeah.
And I was just trying to figure out.
Hang on,
There's so many questions about that one statement, and I was just trying to ask him in game, and then he was like, "I mute everyone," and then we never talked to him again.
The exact quote was, because I texted Crendor after it happened, "Who let you out of disable class?"
There it is. And that's just a tame League of Legends comment. That's not even a bad one.
MOBA communities are complete garbage.
Dude, there was one guy we were playing, and then he was freaking out, and then we told him we were streaming, and he came into the stream. He's like, "I'll report this stream," and I was like, "Okay." And then he's like, and then he just stayed there, and then he was like, "Wow, you guys are bad," and I'm like, "Dude, we know we're bad." And then he just stayed again, and I was like, "All right, well, I'm gonna ban him," and then I banned him, and he made another account, came back, and I was like,
"Why'd you guys ban me?"
I don't. There's just some people I just don't know why.
I can't stand you, but I'm going to spend my whole day obsessing about you.
I tell those people thanks for the viewer retention and the numbers. I appreciate it.
Right? Yeah. If they have to make new accounts to come back every single time.
Hey, thanks. Thanks.
A bit of work. Sure.
I also tilt a lot of people because if you know League of Legends, you will know Teemo, and I main Teemo top lane, and so it gets very tilting for a lot of people to go against the Teemo. And there was one game where I was playing, and I'd harass this guy to a point where he had like 10 CS, and I had like 80. And then we ganked him, and I died, but he died as well, and he put "nice gank, idiot" in all chat. And I was like, "Nice gank, idiot." So that's a running thing in our chat. You just say "nice gank, idiot" every so often.
Freaking Teemo. You would, out of all the champions, you would main top lane Teemo of all characters.
Well, there's other people I like
you play Malphite a lot.
Malphite's fun.
You used to play him anyway.
Yeah. Twisted Fate. There's a lot of people I like, but Teemo's just a very strong, powerful champion. You can't go wrong with.
Nice gank, idiot.
Yeah, nice gank, idiot. There's also a guy who said, "So wart if I go mid." That's another one. They spelled it like WHART.
Well, they don't have time to backspace. They don't have time to backspace. They got to get that out as fast as possible.
Yeah, when you're mad, you just got to type as fast as possible.
Yeah, we were like, "Annie, why are you going mid lane?" She's like, "So wart if I go mid." And so League of Legends, very fun.
Great, another game you've been playing.
And Dota is not. There you go.
Oh, I'm not getting. I'm not having that conversation. I'm just not. Anyway,
here's the Storm is better than Dota. Man.
Let's shift focus actually over to the other game that we were talking about is Dragon Ball Z Fighter, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, because we talked a little bit about it in the last podcast. I think Nick just touched on it briefly. Since then, I've put a bunch of hours into it. Nick, have you put more time into it? Or
that weekend, I played like 2 hours with Rob, and I just haven't had time to play anymore since then. But my opinion is still the same. It's great.
What about the Crendor and Sinvicta? Have you guys played it at all?
No, and I'm not a big fighting game person, so please pretend I'm the Monster Hunter noob here.
That's fine. That's what I am with Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Like, I'm not a fighting game fan at all. Like, I've played a little bit, but I've really gotten into Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and I've been trying to figure out why. And I think I've kind of decided that the big reason that I'm really into it is that it just dressed up the fighting game with a skin that I like. And
that's what I would have guessed as well. The Dragon Ball Z characters seem to do it for people.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, Arc System Works have actually been making really good fighting games for like 10 years now.
Well, that's actually what I walk into is like, because I played all the other Dragon Ball Z fighters, but most of them are just like silly, arcadey nonsense. Tenkaichi specifically is like, it's not balanced in any way.
There's not enough anime girls for me on that.
I loved the hell out of my waifus. My waifus for life. But playing this, going into it, because it just is Dragon Ball Z, and I've pretty much played all the Dragon Ball Z games, it's an actual structured, balanced fighter, and it's hard to explain like why you should play this one over anything else. I guess it's like, do you like Dragon Ball Z? If the answer is
Not really.
all right, then I don't think it'll ever pull you in. That's the thing. Like, if you don't like DBZ in general, I don't think it's going to be the game to pull you in to make you appreciate fighting games. And it's taking a lot for me to understand and appreciate mechanics of fighting games with Dragon Ball Z, but I'm finding myself willing to put in the time and the effort to learn it because the game is just really, really pretty, and it does Dragon Ball Z justice on every level. So even if I'm button mashing and just doing the auto combos, it still feels good to play the game because it still looks cool. And is that something that Arc System Works has always had, Nick, where it has its auto combo abilities?
It's varied a bit over the years. I think as soon as maybe the second or third Blaze Blue, they introduced a stylish mode, which allows you to kind of fumble through all kinds of combos. Like, it almost has like an AI backing you up to make sure that what you do feels good.
Yeah,
and they've been integrating that into Guilty Gear as well, which is their other main property. And I don't believe this game has the stylish mode. They've actually created really good like dial of combos that feel great and also link to much bigger, more complicated combos. So you can play it like a lower to medium range of skill and still feel very accomplished. You're just probably going to end up getting stomped against the people who really understand it. And I'm not in that category either, unfortunately.
That's like what I've really kind of learned to appreciate, because the auto combos you can't turn off in this game. They're part of the mechanics of the game on the ground level. So going in, it's like, I know if I mash, X, 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 I'm going to get a combo, or Y, 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 I'm going to get a combo. But one of the things I've really started to learn and watching some other fighters play the game is like, you could do a manual combo that is not auto done by the computer, and then wrap it into an auto combo, and because the auto combo is always trying to make sure you're hitting, it will actually boost you up to keep you in line with the character, so you can kind of chain them together. What's up? Yes, Sinvicta, how can I help
What
you?
is an auto combo?
An auto combo is simply like button mashing, but the game recognizes your button mashing, and so it creates a combo specific to that button mash.
Yes,
So-
Crendor.
So, I have a question. Just, can I go to the bathroom?
No.
No, not without a bathroom pass.
I have another
Sorry.
question.
Yeah, we give the bathroom pass out.
Damn.
Yeah, it's on that big wooden stick that they somehow found with the key on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like what if some kid really had to go to the bathroom, but like all the other kids wanting to go just to get out of class ruined it? It's kind of inhumane.
Yeah, I agree.
You just gotta piss your pants.
Suck
Yep.
it up.
All the cool
Yeah.
kids are doing it.
Don't be a little bitch. Just do it.
Yeah. Miles Davis. Anyone else references to me?
Adam Sandler movie, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. We got it.
And then,
So one of the only fighting games I remember playing was Clay Fighter. Anyone play
That's
Clay
right.
Fighter?
Yeah.
I love Blue Suede Goo, man. That was my guy.
Yeah.
N64, right?
It was on
Super-
Super
Super-
Nintendo.
that was
and
Super
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Super Nintendo.
It's on
was what I
both,
played.
but yeah, Super Nintendo's where I remember the most. And it was one of those games where it's kind of edgy. It's like you're a kid and you're like, "Oh, this is kind of crazy." Like what was it? The one had like Duke Nukem Rabbit.
There was an opera singer. There was a ball of goo. There was an
Snowman.
Elvis. There was
Yeah, I remember the
a clown.
Elvis. What was the other one?
Yeah.
There was a taffy man who was made out
Yeah.
of like spaghetti. He looked
Man.
like spaghetti, but he was
Mhm.
taffy.
There's a voodoo guy.
The Snowman. That's
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
Snowman.
Yeah.
There's
Bad
a
Mr. Frosty. That's what his name is.
very racist-looking Asian karate character.
Excuse
This
me.
is from 63 and a third, isn't it? This is from the N64 one. I'm not remembering.
Oh wait, yeah, this might be the
Yeah,
There's-
N64 one.
Here's my knowledge of Clay Fighter. There's a version of the Clay Fighter for the N64 that was a Blockbuster exclusive.
Yep.
Oh.
And that version is worth like $1,000 if you have it.
Oh wow.
yeah, because they used Clay Fighter in the Blockbuster World Championships that they had a tryouts for. That was the one where you also had to play Donkey Kong Country, and there's a couple other games that I don't remember. The
Oh,
only reason
yeah.
why I know that is because I was that kid who tried out. And I won too, actually. At least in this area. Bless you.
Ooh,
Bless you.
Earthworm Jim was in the N64 one, wasn't he? Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. I remember that. Earthworm Jim, what a guy.
What a worm.
what a worm.
But
What a worm.
I don't care about fighting games, and I'm not a Dragon Ball fan at all, but I was actually pretty hyped until I found out that it was coming out at the same day that Monster Hunter World. But I'm still like curious about the game, because the thing that appealed to me, not knowing anything about Dragon Ball, was not necessarily like the characters or anything like that. It was just the animations and the presentation looked really awesome. I was like, I'm not even a fighting game fan, but like I want to learn this game just because it looks so smooth. So is that, I mean, how viable is it for someone like me who doesn't really care about Dragon Ball? But I mean, I have a vague understanding about the universe.
To get into it, easy.
Because like I mean, just to break things up a little bit from Monster Hunter, I was like, I've still been meaning to give it a try, but I haven't picked it up because
I think it's immediately accessible for people who don't know fighting games like myself, because the game is built into it. This auto combo system that I've said a few times that will
what's an auto combo?
But that built into it, and as long as you have an idea of how to do a couple of special moves, like you can blow up at the stage and send people flying, and end a match with like a special move that just has a special cutscene associated with it. It's really flashy. And really good, and it's less Street Fighter and more Marvel versus Capcom. It's 3-on-3 teams with tagging in and like special like spectacle combos and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Mathis, will you put together an adopt a fighter?
I cannot. I'm not good enough to teach anybody anything.
Can you adopt me as your adopted fighter?
I will be able to. You'll learn everything I know in like an hour.
That would be a great miniseries for YouTube. and then we'll have to fight each other at the end and see who actually wins.
Just like I teach you like the one combo I've taught myself. With like the 3 characters that I've picked.
You need fighter names like Mathis. Right. Like what would your fighter name be? Like
Mathis.
With a Z. With a Z.
Mathis. Like the dark room.
Yeah, it would just be Mathis with a Z on it instead of an S.
Mathis, the dark room. So you're always in the dark room. And Sinvicta would be like the meat freak.
Yeah.
You're the meat freak.
Yeah, I love meat. Give me all the meat.
I was watching the NLS.
Yeah, that just came up on the NLS.
Oh, did it?
What? And then there's the meat freak.
Yeah.
And I was like, that sounds like Sinvicta, because you only eat meat.
That's not true at all.
It was meant in a loving way.
It's pretty true.
But like, yeah, you do really seem to like meat a lot.
Every time I tweet any type of vegetable, you're like, is that rabbit food?
I do not sound like I'm about to I'm warming up for an opera. At least to a Force Strategy Gaming like impersonation, because me and Force sound exactly the same sometimes.
That's
no. Do you really?
I love Overwatch. Mathis, you want to go play some Fortnite with me?
Who's on the podcast? Is this Sinvicta?
Top
or is
5 ways you can play Overwatch.
Top number 1 ways that the hunt is better than PUBG. I'm rebranding myself as Force Strategy.
Right, Sinvicta, what have you eaten in the last day?
Well, I had a turkey and ham sandwich for lunch today. Yesterday, I had Cane's, which is chicken fingers or tenders,
right?
And that did come with fries.
Okay.
And then for breakfast that day, I think I had a T-bone steak.
All right,
all meat, man. That's all.
I didn't eat a T-bone steak for. Oh. I don't know why do people order eggs and steak and eggs. I've never understood that.
That's like a power lifter.
That's a weird combo, man. Even
it's
when
like
I was
power lifter breakfast.
Yeah, even when I was in shape, like I didn't eat like that. I mean, I ate a bunch of eggs, but I was like, you know what will really make these scrambled eggs even better? A freaking T-bone.
But like everything tastes better with a fried egg on it. Like a burger with a fried egg is good times.
That's true.
A burger with a fried egg? What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's a common thing.
Yeah, man.
What?
You've never had a burger with a fried egg?
No. I mean, I'd be willing to try it, but that's a weird combo.
Why is it weird?
You're putting an egg on a burger.
You've said nothing to tell me why it's weird. You just said the thing.
It just sounds weird to me. I don't know. That's like,
just try it.
Look. This is not Sinvicta Talks About Food podcast table, okay?
As somebody who really likes meat, I think you would appreciate an egg on a burger. It seems like
I'll try it. I'm not going to knock it until I try it.
It's not like offensive to hear, right? Like it's not like, oh, that's what? Who would try that?
It just sounds weird. That's as weird to me as like saying I eat my eggs with ketchup.
Nah, man.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
Putting a fried egg on a burger is delicious.
I'll have to try it. I mean,
Well, part of it's you bite into it, and then the yolk kind of comes out a little bit, and it's like, oh wow, it's like another texture to the burger.
Mm-hmm.
I love eggs and I love burgers, so I mean,
you'd probably love it then. And
have I ever had
this whole time?
I will say that I make these ham, egg, and cheese sandwiches where it's just a a fried egg with a slab of ham and some cheese on it, and then
sounds good.
bread. Yeah, that's a great. I'd make 2 of those for breakfast every now and then. They're really good.
Well, the ham and egg is like a breakfast origin, and then extending the meat protein, just switching it out with beef, and it's like, what's so weird with that? You get some bread on the side. Okay, big deal.
Like I said, I'm not going to knock it. I'll try it, but it just sounded
the evolved
weird.
form.
You report back when you've tried it. We want to hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next time I'm on next time on Roundtable, I'll let you all know. I'll do my homework and get a progress report.
All right.
Sign it.
So go play Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Okay.
It's a fun fighting game.
I probably won't, but
I'm glad we got there.
Nick, the other game that I saw you were willing to chat about, and I saw a little bit of, is Celeste. Have you put a ton of time into Celeste?
Celeste, the best a man can get. Yeah, so good.
The best of man.
I beat the whole thing, the main game, in 2 sittings, and then I went back for another sitting, and I've been working on the post game, which is actually as long as the main game.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe longer, actually. I don't know. I haven't finished it. It's like a really solid platformer that doesn't have like a lot of confusing frills to add to the scheme. It's just like pretty straightforward. It's got a nice story, but it's like maybe a little long-winded at times, but who really cares? But the ultimate function of the game as a platformer is it feels really good to control, and it's easy to understand what you're trying to accomplish. Those 2 things combined with good level design and pretty interesting, diverse-looking graphics, double thumbs up from me. Really, really good game.
I've seen a ton of people like praising the shit out of this game. Does it do anything with from somebody who's played a countless amount of 2D platformers? Why would I jump out and play this one?
Because this is the new 2D platformer right now.
Gotcha.
It's a really creative bit of level design is really what it is. And for me, that feeling of solving the puzzle by performing the dexterity challenge correctly never gets old. So you could throw 800 more Meat Boy levels at me, that'd be cool. You could throw more End is Nigh at me, that'd be cool. This happens to be a different format with which to mess with that, puzzle. Instead of it being directly that you double jump, you jump once and then you dash.
Right.
And the dash is like a 9-way directional, which you can, use to get over gaps. And that's really what the control mechanism's all about. It's how do you play with that, as well as introduce a few extra formulas that mess with it a little bit. There's a lot of harder stuff that's like beyond the general gist of the level difficulty curve, but I think that the actual regular level difficulty curve is great. It's not so hard that most people probably won't finish it, but it's also really hard. So if you go into it expecting a challenge, you're going to get a challenge, and hopefully you'll persevere and finish it at the end. But it's a game about climbing a mountain, so you want to feel challenged,
right?
And you want to feel like you reach the precipice of your skill by the end, only to find out.
Like aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
I've seen a bunch of people play it. I haven't really been like, oh, I need to play this from seeing it, but people said the story is pretty fucking good too.
Yeah, I'm like lukewarm on the story. The story gets the job done, but I felt like it talked a bit too much about things that it didn't need to keep going over and over.
Gotcha.
It's fine. The story shouldn't detract from the game. It's a little bit wordy.
I tried to Google image Celeste, and it was just a bunch of different women.
Yeah.
I expected to see the game, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's right.
But you have to put game.
You need to put...
You can't put a female
I figured
name.
that out now.
It reminds me of way back in the day when I did a video on... what is it?
How long have you been on the internet?
Well, are you asking me or Mathis?
You!
Oh, me? I've been on for a long time. Just normal. I've never searched Celeste before.
Lesson learned.
First time for everything.
Now I've learned, it's kind of like Monster Hunter. I'm learning as I go.
Yeah, happy National Pizza Day.
Happy National Pizza Day, everybody.
I still don't get it. Why do we have to have a pizza day?
Why do we have to have a day for half the things we have days for?
We don't.
Why not?
We don't have to have.
We don't have
why?
to have anything.
It's
why
we've
not?
hit a point where it's like it used to be like, all right, I can handle a day for pizza or like whatever it is, but now it's at a point where every day is a thing. Like I don't want to celebrate something every day.
You miss the vaunted happy your best friend's favorite dog day the other day. Or, hey, this is the best emoticon day. Post your favorite emoticon. Happy emoticon day. You see that stuff on Twitter all the time. Like, everything's a holiday these days.
Let's start a day where it's like, hey, what's today? It's Friday. That's the day. We'll be celebrating Friday.
Cool. Well,
I mean, think about it. How many times have you appreciated Friday outside of being at work or school or something? You're like, oh, yeah, it's Friday. But you never take the time to appreciate Friday.
Friday, got to get down
Friday
on Friday.
Appreciation Day.
Stop.
Cool. Nick, you're going to say something?
It's about Celeste, though, so I'll wait until...
No, please. Please say something about Celeste.
That was Crendor's fault. Crendor.
It's just what I do.
My main gripe with Celeste, and it's one that I don't feel a lot of the fans followed me into being a gripe, is that they tend to have a bit of linear design regarding the path from one area to the next in the game. It's structured a bit like The End Is Nigh, whereas like branching bits that go off from one area and kind of go off on a little tangent for a bit and you come back. A lot of the time, though, you don't realize where forward is versus where going to the side path would be.
Oh, really?
And what that resulted in me doing constantly was wanting to find all the secrets the first time and then finding myself going to an inaccessible reverse. So, like, I'm stuck going forward now, meaning I've passed whatever secrets. I'm going to have to go back and get them later. And I know that's really not a real problem, and they even have multiple checkpoints in each chapter that you can go back to so you don't have to worry about beating the entire level every time. But it drives me nuts when I just don't understand how the level design is pushing you forward or not. That's just my thing. Like, I really want 100% everything the first time I see it, and I want to get all of the challenges done and out of the way. So that just it bothered me personally. Maybe it's not really a problem, but it bothered me a bunch.
Well, I can see that. That's not, I don't think, like an insignificant thing to ask. But maybe I'll jump in and check it out at some point. I just it hasn't really sold me yet. And while it sounds like it's a great platformer, I'm not sure it's going to be something that I want to jump into, having played a ton of platforms. At least, like, Dandara was unique enough in its mechanics to keep me playing for a little bit and be like, all right, this is interesting, this is new.
But you said you didn't like the mechanics.
I didn't, but it kept me hooked for a little while to see if I was going to enjoy it.
But you'll play that instead of the one that's really good?
Well, because I was playing it, but no, hear me out, because I was playing it because of the difference, because there was something different going on in it. And
this is tried and true. This is the Meat Boy formula.
It
looks very Boshi-esque, too, in places.
With its art style?
Not necessarily the art style, but the level design. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of Boshi vibe to it. There's a lot of, like, fall down a pit full of spikes and don't land at the bottom kind of thing.
I wish I could get into those games. Like, Meat Boy, I liked, but I think I only liked part of it because it was Ed's game, and that was after I played Isaac, so it's like, oh, this is where Larry came from, or oh, that's where Chad came from. But
yeah,
I don't know. Just platformers for me, I don't get them.
They're not for everybody. This is my personal, like, one thing that I love is these platformers. Sorry, Crendor, go ahead.
I was just going to say I like old school platformers. That's why I play like Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong 64. Like over the past 2 years, I've kind of live streamed me completing all those games in like big chunks. And the one thing I learned was a lot of them have a lot of blatant flares you look over when you play them in the past when you're a kid. Like, for example, Donkey Kong has terrible camera. It's one of the worst cameras next to Conker's Bad Fur Day.
You talking Donkey Kong Country or 64?
64.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
that's a 3D platformer, though. I think there's a difference between them.
Well, there is a difference. I'm just saying it's a platformer.
I guess.
You get.
To me, there's a difference between saying something is a platformer and a 3D platformer. Because a platformer, from my categorization, is like Celeste or Meat Boy or Boshi. To me, that's a platformer. A 3D platformer, which is stuff I actually enjoy. Like, I like Mario 64, Donkey Kong Country, or Donkey Kong 64, etc. I think, I don't know. To me, those feel like two separate genres altogether in a way.
It's just semantics. They're all platformers. It's just a subdivision inside of the genre.
I guess, but I don't want to say like, oh, I hate platformers, but then like, oh, I really love Donkey Kong 64. Then Crendor's like, well, that's a platformer. Or Force is like, that's a platformer. You know,
it is a platformer.
It is a platformer.
I don't know what your point is.
3D platformer.
I was just gonna let it go and see where this road is.
It has platformer in the name of the category.
Well, I'll grant you they're very different in how they end up playing because of the third dimension being added, but like they're absolutely still platforming.
I can get down with 3D platforming. Just regular, like the 2D, I just can't. I don't like it.
Okay, that's fine.
Sure, it's just your personal preference. It's wrong though.
Yeah, thanks, Coach.
So what were you saying, Crendor? The camera's terrible.
Oh yeah, a lot of those old platformer games, the camera's really terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really gotten into 2D platformers though, because there's mainly a few I tried playing. I enjoyed Undertale for a while, and then everyone yelled at me that I was doing things wrong, and I was like,
Undertale's not a platformer.
Is it? Well, maybe I don't know what platformers are. Then.
See, I can't even go off of Crendor's definition now.
You jump on stuff.
What's a T? Oh, is it like
Mario is a platformer?
Undertale's like an RPG.
An RPG with some bullet hell elements.
Yeah. Listen, I didn't play enough to figure out if it was a platformer or not. All right.
Cuphead's a platformer.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also running an action game too.
Cuphead's definitely a platformer.
All right. Yeah, I like Cuphead. That's fun.
Cool.
I did.
I'm a little lost right now.
I'm a little lost too.
Crendor's whole world is being reshaped before his eyes.
This is why I just derailed things all the time. Like when I'm on co-optional all the time, I just derail it, and then I have a fun time. And then when TB's like, "What have you been playing?" I'm like, "League of Legends," and he's like, "What else have you been playing?" I'm like, "I don't know, man."
I tried this new Teemo build that was pretty cool. TB gets so mad at him.
Oh, God damn
to
it.
it.
Well, Crendor just learned what a platformer is today, so at least we helped you, with your worldview.
You should try Snake Pass. You might like that. It's pretty cool.
A lot of people said that. They're like, "You should play Snake Pass."
I enjoyed watching Nick playing that. That still was one of the highlights of last year was Snake Pass.
Wow.
Wow, you just said watching me play Snake Pass was one of the highlights of your year.
Was watching that was enjoyable, man. Because like I made it a point. I even talked about this on Roundtable. It's like, it's so rare to see a colorful, bright, shiny, color palette. I think that's what made Snake Pass really stand out. I think now it's for they've got it for the Switch now, I think, as well, and that's awesome. Because if I recall correctly, when you were playing it before it got released, like you were saying, I hope it does well, and I think that it has potential. I'm glad that it found success. That was enjoyable to watch. Sorry, I'm a Rock Lee Smile fan.
That's a huge compliment to say that I was one of the highlights of your entire year. That's
you were so happy.
A pretty average year, I guess. Now that I think about it, but
yeah, it was. I mean, Monster Hunter World wasn't out yet, so it wasn't a very good year.
Yeah.
Then play Ukulele, dude. Ukulele's bright and colorful.
Ukulele was fun, but it was
it
lacked. It was just lacking something. I think the level designs. I think they could have used more levels instead of expanding.
I was actually going to say, I think my biggest
level.
complaint about it is I think its levels were too big and empty feeling. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to look at, but there was not a lot there.
Mm-hmm. And after having played all these games again in the last couple of years and playing Banjo-Kazooie last week, I noticed that a lot of those levels are smaller, but they still have a lot of kind of character to them and a very vibrant feel, and a lot still going on in such a small zone that I feel like they could have done that. They could have made smaller levels, but I think they wanted to go big. They're like, check out these grand scaled levels and all that, and I think if they were to redo it, if they would have just did that, I would have enjoyed the game that much more. I had fun playing it, but it was it was a 7 out of 10 overall.
Did you play A Hat in Time?
I did, and I liked A Hat in Time, but I couldn't get into it enough to want to beat the game. I got probably a fourth of the way, or halfway through the game, and then I was just kind of all right, but nothing made me want to finish it. I don't know what it is. I can't pinpoint it or anything.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I played a little bit of Hat in Time and didn't feel the urge to finish it like I did with Ukulele, even though I saw the problems with Ukulele. I think I really, really enjoy that Banjo-Kazooie style, not only aesthetic, but just the way it controls and the way it plays. So
I thought Hat in Time was kind of the best modern version of an old school 3D platformer. I just stopped playing it because I wanted there to be more levels, and they were still working on them and they hadn't released them. So a lot of times the best move is not to play at all, and eventually they release more content and then you play it all.
I do hope that they do more with both Hat in Time and and Yooka-Laylee, whether it be sequels for both or some DLC or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I like them both. So
Yeah, I think they'll do sequels. I think they'll definitely do them.
Yeah.
I think they've, in a way, kind of rejuvenated or revived that genre of gaming. So we've hit a point where now if enough people just throw money at something, people will make it. It's be like, hey, money.
right, that's true. there's a market there. We might as well
Yeah.
use it. Awesome.
Oh, what's that one game? There's one game coming out in a couple days. I was gonna Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Kingdom Come Deliverance is going to be out in a few days.
What?
Yeah.
Kingdom Come Deliverance is a open world first person RPG, but like no magic. It takes place in like real.
It's very
medieval
historically
England.
accurate.
Yeah.
Is what they're going for. It's made by Warhorse.
I'm excited for it, but I'm also nervous that it's going to be incredibly ambitious but janky as hell.
It's published by Deep Silver too.
I think
Is
published
it
by
being actually released, or is it coming out to
No,
early
it's
access?
actually coming
Actual
out
release.
on the
Wow.
13th. Yeah,
That's
what
rare. Games being released?
Without a pre-alpha early access.
It's I mean, it looks really good. I think like everything about it looks really good. I mean, there could be some janky things about it, but I don't think it'll be that bad, or I don't think it'll be bad enough to make me not want to play the game or enjoy the game.
No, I'm gonna definitely jump in and play. I hope it's good.
Is it single player or?
Yeah, single
Yeah.
player.
Okay.
Ask for a code on Keymailer for it. I might play it if they send me one.
Yeah.
Just barely on the outside edge of my radar, I think.
I'm excited enough to check it out. We'll see. I think we'll have more to talk about that next week after it's been out for a few days. So
I watched Crendor play it and go off of his recommendation.
there you go.
Yeah, just like everybody's golf.
Yeah, everybody's
game.
golf is a great game, but that wasn't on your recommendation though. That was Ryan's.
Yeah.
He was wanting to play and stuff, and I was like, I'm not spending $50 or $40 for it. But
Yeah.
now it's like we should play after the podcast.
Yeah.
So that's a great game, man. I've always loved golf games, and that one is done really well.
Feel like
Surprisingly,
The golf
Surprisingly.
games have come back in a strong way. Party golf games have come back in a strong way, rather.
I really like golf games. I wanted them to do a
Yeah.
Mario Golf, but now they're doing Mario Tennis, which I like Mario Tennis, but I really like Mario Golf.
There's
Mario
been
Tennis
way
is
more
great.
tennis than golf, hasn't there? Like, we're
Yeah.
overdue for a golf.
Yeah.
I mean, we had
I
a
think
tennis
so.
on the Wii U. It was bad, but we had one.
Why do you get so much tennis?
'Cause
I
people
don't
love
know.
their tennis, man. I don't know.
I don't.
I mean, tennis was fun back when the Wii first came out and Wii Sports, and just like, oh, I've got my virtual
Oh,
racket.
yeah.
Here you go, and then you
Yeah.
know, it's like, oh, we're
When it
just
was-
playing pong.
When the gimmick was still fresh and exciting.
Yeah, we're just playing pong while standing on the table. It's all tennis. But everybody's golf is great. I was surprised how new that game was too. I thought that was like a 4-year-old game or whatever, but it came out at the end of last year. I was like, holy crap! There's a lot of really good content in here.
It has a
I'm
timeless
surprised.
art style now. Generic, kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm surprised there's not more golf games for how popular they've been. More like golf with your friends or golf
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Like, I feel like there should be more for how much people play them.
And I mean,
Is
people, you understand. Everyone knows how to play golf down to the basic level. You hit the ball, get in the hole. The less strokes, that's it.
A small group of those that exist on Steam that are kind of like under the radar, that are mostly all bad. The ones that we keep hearing about and talking about are actually the ones that are like decent and have potential to keep getting better.
Mathis, do you like golf?
I don't play any golf games, so I've played golf with your friends a few times. It's fun. I don't remember the last time I played like a golfing video game in any like capacity other than maybe the last Mario Golf, to be honest.
What was the last game that you played that didn't have an anime waifu in it?
I mean, I'm playing Soul Reaver right now, so that has no
I don't
anime
know.
waifu.
I don't know what
Does it
that
have a
is.
waifu?
don't
Well,
know
it
if that
kind of
is.
has one at one point, but
Not-
she's not really a waifu.
Yeah, she's not really a waifu. So I
Well,
guess
maybe not to your standards, but maybe to someone else's
she's-
standards.
Well, you can waifu
really
anything, man. You can waifu anything.
I have no idea who this character is. I'm just saying, by the way.
He's from the early 2000s, man. Soul Reaver? You don't know who Soul Reaver is?
Raziel,
Raziel, Kane.
he has like a cloak that goes up to his nose
And he
because his whole
devours
bottom jaw is
souls.
missing, and he's a vampire with he's just got ribs, and he lifts his thing down and he sucks your soul in.
Sounds pretty metal.
Yeah, it's pretty metal.
It's really good.
He's like a silly British guy actually, but he has no skin anymore, so he's
Yeah.
pretty mad about that.
And it's basically like The game is basically a Zelda game.
Mathis, can I ask you a question?
I mean, you're welcome to.
So it's
Here we
winter
Yeah,
outside.
it is
But
winter.
you're wearing a t-shirt.
Yeah, because I have this thing called heat in my apartment
Why don't you turn the heat down?
because it's at a good temperature right now.
Well,
Yeah, why aren't you cold, Mathis?
I don't understand the line of questioning.
why would you want to turn the heat down if you don't want to be cold? That makes no sense.
well, I don't get why. It's obviously hot enough to wear a t-shirt, but it's not cold enough to like you. I feel like you'd just be at a comfortable temperature.
Why are you trying to
You wouldn't need a
put?
t-shirt.
I'm
Why are
at
you
a
trying to
comfortable
like?
temperature.
You're trying to like no hoodie.
I just
shame
don't-
Mathis.
I'm very confused as to what's happening.
I just don't understand why you're wearing a t-shirt in winter. Is what it boils down to. Like I
Thugging
get
out, Nick.
Sinvicta. He's in the south where it's like warmer, but not.
Because
you're
I'm
in,
hot
heat on
outside.
You're
70
in
and it's like a
Boston,
70
the
degrees in
Boston
my
area.
apartment right now.
That's like
70
his-
degrees.
Yeah,
You keep the heater at 70?
yeah.
What's
What?
the matter with you?
That is pretty crazy.
That's too hot, Mathis.
Okay, sorry.
Well,
well,
turn off your heater and put a. I'm with Crendor now.
Yeah.
70. That's just ludicrous.
somebody's in chat said 70 is too cold. So yeah, people in chat
What?
said that's not warm
70
enough.
too
Cold.
cold.
Almost like people had different preferences.
I know, right?
on their body
Really
chemistry.
weird. Well,
Those
I want to say
are
thank you
wrong
to Sinvicta and Crendor for joining us here on the
See you
podcast.
later.
We are going to wrap up the podcast, actually. Thank you guys for joining us. An announcement for next week. Starting next week, we will be returning the Ask Roundtable segment, so feel free to email your questions to roundtableyt@gmail.com, and we will answer them. We'll pick one and answer it live on stream, and then we'll announce what guests we'll have for next week's show in the coming days. It'll be me and Nick, and then whoever else has time to jump on and help fill the slots. But yes.
It'll probably be me and Crendor again.
Who knows?
Who knows? It could be anybody. It's gonna be a surprise. But we'll be back next Friday. Thank you guys so much for joining us. The VODs will be going live up on my YouTube channel until Bear comes back and takes the show back under his reins. For now, it's linked to my channel. I'll just go up there, so keep an eye out for that. And then by tomorrow for you guys. Am I missing anything on the goodbye part that Bear usually does, Nick? That I am
he
not.
shouts out all of the Patreon subscribers and the
shit.
Twitch subscribers, and
Cool.
He lets the guests like plug their stuff. Just
Yeah, well, why don't you guys, starting with the Sinvicta, why don't you guys go ahead and where people can find
Hey,
you?
yeah.
I mean, we
my
don't
name
usually do that, but okay.
My name is.
Just do it. Well, they're guests, so they get to do it. It's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can find me over at twitch.tv/Sinvicta. I'll be streaming directly after the roundtable. If you are interested in Darkest Dungeon, the fourth season of my Darkest Dungeon series starts on. I can't say the day yet because I haven't revealed it yet, but it starts very soon, within the next week. So definitely go check it out youtube.com/Sinvicta316. And we've got a new song coming out. So if you are interested in some heavy metal that is also completely free of charge, unlike Crendor's Sloth Pants, you can go to sinvicta.bandcamp.com and check out my band. We've got an album there. It doesn't cost anything, but if you want to make a donation, you can. And thanks to Mathis and Nick for having me.
Well, thanks
Very welcome.
for guesting. How about you, Crendor? What you got going on, man?
Well, I'm gonna be live streaming. I live stream every day. I kind of just play whatever I want.
Legend.
Twitch.
That's the way to do it, man.
Well,
I'm with you.
yeah, it's fun that way. There you go. That's me in chat. If you want to follow me, if you're on YouTube, twitch.tv/Crendor. Also, youtube.com/WowCrendor or Crendor. Both work. They both lead to the same place. I've been putting up all my WoW stuff, so if you want to see me level in World of Warcraft, that's a 3-part series of like 6 or 7 hours of me just leveling through the new zone from the alpha.
And Coach Crendor, I heard that Twitch Prime is completely free, that you could use it over at twitch.tv/Crendor.
Roundtable Podcast is where
That's
you wanna
actually
use
very
it.
true. The twitch.tv/ whoever your favorite person is, I would suggest Crendor because it's a great channel. And you know, what else am I doing? Sound. If you want to see Cox and Crendor, I do a podcast with Jesse, Cox and Crendor on SoundCloud or Cox and Crendor podcast on YouTube. We're almost up to 150 episodes. We've been doing that 5 years.
That's crazy.
Do I have
Bunch of-
anything else?
Bunch of
I mean,
nerds.
so if you're good,
Oh yeah,
you're good.
Crensloth.com. Buy my shirts. Buy my pants. I
Sweat.
got sweatpants. I got shirts. It's great. Crensloth.com.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Well, thank you to everybody who I got the subscription list, but it only shows one person. So thanks, Atra13, for the subscription. I know a bunch of people resub today, though, and I'm not seeing them because I'm not used to Streamlabs. However, thank you to the $20 and up tier on Patreon for supporting us for so long, including but not limited to Julian Avelsgard, Scotty119, Ricky Grist, Simmerfet, Cowboy Chemist, Eric Shuley, Stephen Aoki. That's my real name, not an unironic shout out. James Peed, Peter Sunson, Ellis Spice, John Kalchik, O Tomas Games, BR, Jakar Sampson with the dance number, Col Noir, Sahoa, Talks to Wall, Chaos, Never Gonna Give You Up Theorist, Colby Klein, Green Light, and Oren Saltzman. Thank you guys so much for watching the podcast. This will all be up on your typical podcasting sites by tomorrow and a few other ones. We are now on Stitcher, TuneIn, and Google Play? No, I think we're already on Google Play. We're definitely on Stitcher, TuneIn, and a couple other ones now as well. So if you want to use those. And I've submitted for Spotify, but we're waiting to hear back from Spotify to see if they approve us. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Where can I find Nick, though? I don't know where to find Nick.